Welcome to Spark Joy, the podcast dedicated to celebrating the KonMari method and the transformative power of surrounding yourself with joy and letting go of all the rest. With your hosts and certified KonMari consultants, Kristen Ivy and Karen Sochi. And now, here's the show.
Summer means fun outdoor activities, events, markets, vacations, and an easier, more relaxed way of life. At least that's what summer usually is all about. But this summer is like no other for most of us. No matter where you are in the world, it's likely that you will be much more mindful about where you're going and how you're spending your time. Kristen and I both live in major metropolitan areas. Your city may provide different opportunities and challenges, but we hope the KonMari quick tips we have for you today will give you some ideas about how to make the most of summer 2020.
It's important to make the best decision for you and your family in terms of what's safe given your location circumstances and underlying health conditions. We discussed how to stay healthy at home during the coronavirus pandemic in Spark Joy episode 124, which is a great companion to this Quick Tips episode.
And it never hurts to review the everyday preventative actions you should take, which include wash your hands frequently with warm water and soap for 20 seconds, avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth, stay home when you are sick, cover your cough or sneeze with a tissue, then throw the tissue in the trash. Clean and disinfect frequently touched objects and surfaces. And, of course, don't forget social distancing rules, however they may apply to your area, and mask wearing is always recommended.
Also, revisit Spark Joy episode 5 to visualize your ideal life and summer. When it comes to designing your new normal, review your vision for the best summer going forward, remaining flexible and open-minded. We're about to approach the halfway point of the year, so think short-term, maybe the next 30 days or 90 days or end of the year. What would you like to get done in that time frame? What does your ideal day look like? How can you make the best of this unique summer moving forward? Get creative and discover new things about yourself during this time, and evaluate what sparks the most joy for you and which activities are absolutely essential.
If you or your family are at your wits' end trying to think of new fun things to do, I recommend Thrillist.com. Thrillist is a platform that sends you a newsletter with local weekend activities, often virtual, but also safe based on the city you select. For example, this week in New York City, there are options for a delivered tasting menu from a local chef, a socially distant cruise ride around the harbor, and times and locations for a drive-in theater in Queens. There's also a general Thrillist newsletter that's not location-specific, with lots of options if you aren't near a major city. It features virtual theater, lectures, streaming movie events, and special events. Now that we have had some time to get proficient with online platforms, the virtual events are getting more and more sophisticated and fun.
Also consider joining a new community in order to learn a new skill. So maybe you have an interest in learning how to use your Instapot correctly, or learning more about budgeting, or cleaning your home, or baking bread. There's a class for that. I lean on virtual groups in Facebook, as well as dabble.com, which is another platform that has an aggregation of lots of fun things to do. Also, I'm part of a community called Life of Yes through Mac and Cheese Productions. And I'm actually hosting a virtual class called I Can't Podcast on July 9th. So if you're a regular podcast listener who's always wanted to start their own show, this is a perfect class for you. I'll be sharing best practices that I've learned as we've grown Spark Joy over almost 3 years. And we'll link this invite for you in our show notes so you can join in on I Can't Podcast on July 9th. And if the new skill that you want to learn is organizing your home, we've got a place for you as well, the Spark Joy Club. Here's more. The question, does it spark joy, is a simple one, but not so easy to execute alone. Extend your tidying experience by joining the Spark Joy Club, our online community filled with our clients, fellow listeners, and KonMari enthusiasts ready to support your journey.
If you find yourself buried under clothing, stuck on storage, or pointing fingers at untidy housemates or family members, we want to help you finish your tidying journey once and for all.
Support the show at the Joy Riser level and receive access to our exclusive virtual community, as well as the Tidy Home Joy Journal, your #1 tidying companion.
Visit sparkjoypodcast.com and click on Join the Club to get started. And now back to the show. Your community likely has lots of opportunities to get involved with your neighbors in a way that's comfortable for you. My city hall hearings and local city council meetings are now virtual. I never had time to participate before. I didn't even know when or how they met. Now I can just log on and learn what's going on and make sure my voice is heard.
Also, try finding your favorite artists online to bring some live music into your day. I regularly listen to DJs and artists during quarantine. I've been inspired by how dedicated they have been during this time, reconfiguring their homes and their lives and their schedules to adapt to the changing time and keep our spirits high while they're doing what they love and while we're listening to the music that we love. And I love hip hop and R&B. So my go-tos are D Nice, who's a DJ that was made famous right at the top of all the stay-at-home orders when he had a massive DJ party with about 100,000 people, including Michelle Obama and Bernie Sanders and all kinds of other celebrities popping in Instagram Live. Also, Versus TV, so it's Versus, VERZUZ TV. That's a great Instagram for live music as well. They have some battles where two major artists who really appreciate and respect each other come on and share their top 20 hits. So I remember the one with Jill Scott and Erykah Badu was awesome. There was about 725,000 people on Instagram. They're breaking records over there. So that's at Versus TV.
You can also use this time to discover your local parks and trails. Parks are just wonderlands of interesting sights and features, whether it's going on a picnic or just sitting by a fountain. They are joyful places no matter what your age.
Also consider turning a someday activity into a today activity. So I started a list of things that I'd like to do to upgrade the amount of hobbies that I have in my life. As a professional organizer and KonMari consultant, everything I do for my business, including this podcast, it's all about creative expression. So I often have to make time in my day to really do something that's creative, but just for me. So I made a list of some activities like painting a portrait of my pet or picking up cross stitch, which I just recently picked up again. Also reading books that are for reading someday. I have a goal of making sure to read as many books as possible now so I can invite new information in during the summer. I'm going to try to use this app called Stylebook to have a virtual closet on my phone so I can mix and match outfits together. And we'll link that in the show notes. It's definitely a project. I can imagine even with my KonMari closet, it might take about 3 days to take a picture of every single article of clothes or accessories that I have, but could be fun. And also photo organizing. It's a great time to walk down memory lane, take care of those sentimental items, old computers, opening those up, charging them back up. Also consider those errands that may be a little bit more easier to get complete now that some states are reopening. Once a week, I incorporate one activity from my personal to-do list that I had before quarantine and COVID was a big part of our lives and lifestyle. Things like fixing and reframing a mirror, or copying a key at the hardware store, or scanning something for a family member, some photos, or fixing jewelry, taking that to an expert. All those things require going into retail spaces. I take the appropriate precautions, but I've started to integrate those activities back in that are important, but not necessarily mission critical, so I can just get them done and off my list.
And be sure to embrace small businesses in your town. As various businesses reopen to various degrees, they will really appreciate your patronage. We've all become more reliant on delivery services such as Amazon, but try to explore new restaurants and attractions in your town. They will be very happy to see you. You can start new family traditions for summer get togethers. I'm sure you have seen birthday and celebration parades where attendees drive past the birthday or graduate celebrator in their cars with signs and balloons. There's no reason this can't become a tradition for other celebrations as well. Why not a drive-by 4th of July parade or a neighborhood block party with everyone visiting while relaxing on the sidewalk in front of their homes?
Finally, it's a great time to start that organizing or home improvement project that's been on your to-do list for far too long. Now that you've spent most of your time at home, you probably have a better idea of how your space can serve you best. You may have identified a closet or storage area that just isn't working well. So during the warmer summer months, definitely tackle the garage, the shed, or the garden. This is a great time to take care of those type of projects.
So there you have it. There are some of our ideas for how to make this unusual summer more joyful. We hope that some of these ideas are things that you can incorporate, but we would also be interested in hearing what you have in mind. Please be sure to drop us comments on Facebook or Instagram, and we'll be sure to share some of the best ones with all of our listeners.
Before we close, sending a special welcome and thank you to our newest Spark Joy Club member at the Joy Sparker level, Jessica Shepard. Join over 140 serious tidiers who are making 2020 their very last year of being disorganized. We welcome you to extend the conversation around taking action, living, and maintaining a tidy lifestyle. So now we want to hear from you. Tell us your burning tidying questions or share stories about how KonMari has impacted your life.
Head over to Apple Podcasts to subscribe and review the show, which helps us reach others along their tidying journeys.
To extend your tidying experience, you can join the Spark Joy Club.
Visit sparkjoypodcast.com and click Join the Club to become a member of the Spark Joy community, or join us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Thanks for tuning in, and we hope your day sparks joy.
Thank you for listening to Spark Joy with your hosts Kristen Ivy of For the Love of Tidy in Chicago and Karen Sochi of The Serene Home in New York City. Spark Joy, the podcast, is not endorsed by or affiliated with KonMari Media, Inc. The opinions expressed on this episode represent the views of the co-hosts and guests alone and do not represent the corporate position of KonMari Media, Inc. or the KonMari consultant community.